Welcome back. You should have page 153 and you should have written your name and number on both sides. Let's just really quickly solve one of these problems using the standard algorithm just to make sure that we really have that one down. That's the one we've been doing the least, but it's the one you probably already knew. So why don't we come ahead and go down to number 16 and see if we can solve this one. So you start in the bottom right corner, which is in the ones place, and you're going to multiply the ones place by the ones place. 7 times 2 is 14, so I dropped the 4 down and I carried the 1. Then you do this same bottom right corner and you go diagonal because you're timesing the 7 by the 1s, then the 7 by the 10s. So 7 times 9 is 63, plus 1 is 64. And I'm done with this because there's no more digits to the left to multiply by. So I'm done with the 7, I'm done with that little 1, and I place the 0, the hero, for place value. The reason why this 0 goes here is because you're moving on to the next place value. So I then do 4 times 2, which is 8. And then I do the 4 times 9, which is 36. So I have two different partial products, and I add them together to get my final answer, which is 4,324. So that's how you do standard algorithm, and you're probably really familiar with that. We are going to turn the page to page 154, and we're going to be solving a lot of these problems. So keep your aqua color crayon out, and let's solve some real-world problems. Number 21 says, Pascal wants to read 99 pages every week for 35 weeks. How many pages will he have read by the end of that time? How could he use mental math to find the solution? Well, let's answer the first question, and then we'll go back and answer the second question. So this is a two-part question. I want you to be paying attention to story problems to make sure you understand that. So how many pages will he have read by the end of that time? Well, he reads 99 pages, 99, every week for 35 weeks. Every is going to mean that we're multiplying. So we're doing 99 times 35. Okay? So let's go ahead and do this using, let's use expanded notation. Will you please write that off to the side? Expanded notation. So we take the first digit and we break it up, 99, and we break up the second digit, 35, and we're going to multiply by going down, then across. Okay, 90 times 30 is a 27 with 2 zeros. 90 times 5 is 45 with a 0. And then I come over here to the top right, and I'm going to go down and across. 9 times 5 is 45, and 9 times 30 is 27 with a 0. So I add all of those partial products up. I got 3,465. I'm just going to quickly check my math. 5, that's 9 plus 7 is 16. 8, 12, 14. Okay, so how many pages will he have read by the end of that time? He will have read 3,465 pages. Now we are done with the first part of that question, so I'm just going to check mark it off, the question. The second part of the question says, how could he use mental math to find the solution? So mental math means just looking at those numbers. Is there an easier thing I could do inside of my head without showing work? That's what mental math means. An easier thing to do. Well, this number 99 is really close to the number 100. And it's really easy when you multiply something by 100 because you're just timesing it by 1 with 2 zeros. Or you're just multiplying it by itself, by 1, and then knowing it's 2 more place values over. So 35 times 100, if it was 100 pages that he read every week, right, then it would be whatever 100 times 35 would be. So we could round 99 to 100, then multiply 100 times 35, which would be 35 with 2 zeros, 3,500. But remember, that's if he read 100 and he only read 99. So really he read one less page every week. So then you would minus the 35. So when you do this, 3,500 minus 35, if you take away 30 from 500, you would get 470. But you got to take away 35, so you would get 465. So this would equal 3,465, which is what you would do there. So that's pretty interesting. That's a great way for us to mental math check, and it's a strategy we can use to make sure that we're correct. Okay, let's try number 2. Jenny's garden is 28 feet by 50 feet. What is the area of her garden? So we're doing feet by feet. And that by means multiplication. Feet by feet. What is the area of her garden, and how could she use mental math to find the area? Well, this one's really, really easy with mental math, because I'm just going to quickly do 28 times 5 and then add a 0. So I'm going to use that mental math skill to solve the problem. So 28 times 5, because there's the 5. But remember, it was really 50, so the 0 needs to come down here at the end. So I'm just going to put it there right now. So 28 times 5, go ahead and solve that. You should get 1,400. But because it was feet by feet, it has to be square feet. So what is the area of her garden? Her garden has an area of 1,400 square feet. Or you could say feet squared. Now, how could you use mental math to find the area? We did this. You can multiply 28 by 5 and then add a 0. So multiply 28 by 5. Multiply 28 by 5, then add a 0 at the end. Okay. The next one we're going to do, let's use our blue. We should have actually used the blue for this second problem. I'm sorry. We'll circle the 28 feet and the 50 feet and make that X a blue. That's what's happening. Number 23. The drama club is making lemonade to sell at the school play. Each batch uses 64 fluid ounces of lemon juice. If they plan to make 18 batches, so here we have a really important word, each. Each batch, so each of these batches, each 18 batches uses 64 ounces of lemonade. If they plan to make the 18 batches, how many fluid ounces of lemon juice will they need? So this is multiplication, and we're going to be doing 64 times 18. For this one, let's try the method, well, do you want to try, let's do place value sections. That's kind of a fun one. A lot of people like that one. So remember, to do sections, you break it into the 4 little boxes, and you break up both numbers. So we're breaking up 64, and then we're breaking up 18. So 64 gets broken up into this. And then how do you break up 18? There's a 1 in the tens place. So 10, and then an 8 in the ones place. And then you just find the area of each little box. So the area of this one would be 10 times 60, which is a 6 with 2 zeros. 10 times 4, 40. 8 times 60 for this one. 8 times 6 is 48 with a 0. And 8 times 4, 32. So you have 640, I'm adding those partial products, and then this is a little bit harder, but 80 plus 30, 80 would be 90. then 100, then it would bump to 500, so 90. Sorry, okay. I think the easiest way to do this is actually just to add it, but a lot of you know that the answer here is this 80 plus 30 is going to jump this up to 510, but then you have two more. So it's going to be 512. But if you didn't know that, you could just quickly put the 32 underneath it, and you can add to get that 512. So now I have these partial products. I have 640 and 512. 0 plus 2. Actually, I don't want to put them off to the side there. Sorry, we are going to come down here. So I have 640 and 512. So 640 plus 512. That's going to give me 2, 5, and 11. So it's 1,152. How many fluid ounces of lemon juice will they need? Write it in a sentence. Okay, on the next problems, it asks us to write an equation and then solve. And I think this would be really important to make sure that you know how to write an equation. And it might be multi-step, meaning there might be multiple things to do. So we're going to go really slowly at this, and I want you to first read the problem in your head. So go ahead and take a minute to read this story problem, number 24, in your head. Okay, so we're talking about tigers living in Siberia. So tigers living in Siberia can have home ranges from 190 to 1,500 square miles, depending on how plentiful their prey is. If a tiger's range, so this, just so you know, these first two lines were all just information. It's just telling us that tigers can live in a vast variety of different home ranges, sizes. So now we're going to get into the problem. It says if a tiger's range is the shape of a rectangle, let's draw that shape. That is 47 miles wide by 29 miles long. So they're saying if that shape is 47 miles long and 47 miles wide and 29 miles long, that would look like this. Sorry, that rectangle would look a little bit differently because it's more wide than it is long. So it's going to be 47 by 29, so it might look like this. So if that is the width, 47, then it might be along like this. So it's saying it's 47 miles wide, or I think of that as how tall it is for right now. And then 27 miles long from left to right, 29. That is what the area would look like. So to find the area of this, you do length times width. So we're going to be doing 47 times 29. Let's just do standard algorithm on this one, okay? 47 times 29. Go ahead and try to solve this problem on your own. And I'm going to freeze the camera and see if you get the same answer that I get. Okay, your answer is correct if inside of the answer you have 2 3s. One of the threes is in the ones place, and the other 3 is in the hundreds place. Your answer should be 1,363. No, sorry. Yeah, I said it right. 1,363. Okay, let's just double check our math. 9 times 7 was 63. 2 times 7 was 14 plus 14 plus, oh no. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 4 is 36. Plus the 6 is 42. Drop the 0 and move on to the next place value. 2 times 7 was 14. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. You add those partial products to get 1,363. So, what is the area of its home range? The area is 1,363, but it's an area, so it's got to be, there has to be a unit of measurement. And this is miles by miles, so it would be square miles. Now, we forgot one super important part. I always forget to do this, but we did the equation basically over here in the algorithm. But what would the equation be? It would be 47 times 29 equals x. An equation means that I know the problem and I'm solving for x. Let's make sure to do that part first this time. So let's come here to the next problem and draw that rectangle. This oval. And we're going to put the equation in there first. Okay? In fact, I love circling things in color, as you well know. I'm just going to add color to that. Okay. Paul and John have a sticker collection. They keep their stickers in 2 albums that each have 54 pages. There are 24 stickers on each page. How many stickers are in their collection? Wow. If you aren't paying close attention in this problem, you are going to miss something. This is critical. They keep their stickers in 2 albums that each have 54 pages. They have 2 albums that each have that many pages. And on each of those pages, there's 24 stickers. So we have a lot of things happening here. Why don't we go ahead and figure out, there's a couple different things we could do. We could figure out how many stickers are in one album, and then we could double it to get the 2. Or we could figure out how many pages that is total, and then multiply it by the stickers. So I think that's going to be, that would be something that you could do, or you could find it for one book and then double it. Maybe we should do it that way. That would be interesting. Let's go ahead and use place value rows for this one, just so that we have all the different methods going on. So let's try number 25. Okay, we're going to be doing place value rows. So we're doing 54 times 24. So you draw the long rectangle like this, and you split it. Well, that's a little dramatic. I don't need to be that low, but it's not supposed to be really in the middle, so there we go. Remember, you keep the first number, so we're going to do 54 times 24. So you keep the first number, and then you break up the second number. So we'll do 54 times 2 and add a 0 on this first one. I just add the 0 right now. And that's 8 and 10. So it's 1,080 in this box. And then I do 54 times 4 to get 216. Then I combine those. So I'm just going to add them right here. 1080 plus 216. There are 1,296 stickers in one book. So what do you need to do in order to figure it out for 2 books or for 2 albums? You have to double that number. So you have to take 1,296 and you can either add it to itself, like you could do plus 1,296, or you could double it by multiplying it by 2. Because this right here is for one book or one album. So now we need to find it for 2. 6 times 2 is 12. That's 18 plus 1 is 19. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that's how many stickers are in their collection. This number right here. Ready? What was the equation? Ooh, pretty interesting. What we did was 54 times 24. And then what do we do to that number? We times it by 2 to get our answer. Pretty cool. The answer is 2,592. How many stickers are in their collection? There are 2,592 stickers in all. You could say in their collection or whatever you want there, but I just wanted to say in all. Wow, that was a lot of problem solving and thinking through what's happening in a story problem and remembering to put the equation. So here is what you're going to do next. You do have a Think Central assignment today, so make sure that you log on to Think Central and complete it. But we are going to cut out, you do not have to do this page. You are so welcome for that. You are going to need a pair of scissors and a glue stick or tape because we are going to cut out these problems. So please pull your journal out and turn the page to the back side of the notes we took. And we're going to cut all of these story problems in our work out to glue in there. So this might be a little bit tricky. Go ahead and keep the the orange, solve real world problems, and then cut around all of the work we did, but do not keep check understanding. So I'm going to cut that part off right now. But as I cut it off, I chose to put some of my work down there. So I'm just going to be really careful and cut around that work so that I keep all my work in here, but nothing that I don't need. So you can see how weird that part is that I cut out. I don't need that little scrap. And I'm going to cut really close to the edges so that this fits inside of my journal. I'm a little worried about my place value sections part because I drew pretty closely to the side. So I'm just going to cut across. I'm going to keep the title, Solve Real World Problems. And then I want to make it as skinny as possible. So I'm just coming around the numbers. Okay, this is what my piece looks like. It's a little crazy, but I'm going to try and get that into my journal without covering, you know the rule, any holes. So if I look at my problem, if I look at this, mine is going to cover this middle hole. So I have to figure out a way to make it so that it doesn't cover that middle hole. So maybe I can tilt it. That worked pretty well. Without covering it, I might have to cut off some of the square. Let me show you what I mean by that. Look, I just cut off the side and then I'll add blue in here like that. So let's see if that helps a little. Sure does. Okay, do the best you can to get that whole page in your journal. You can see that mine is going to end up being tilted. Maybe I should raise this so you can see that better. It's totally tilted on the page, but it's not covering any of the holes. Once you get that glued in, you can work on Think Central. Don't forget that on the homework side, there is a lot of multiplication happening, and you can solve it in any method that you would like, except for number 17. On number 17, Ms. Fisher would like you to write it in expanded form. So will you please come to your number 17 and write expanded form. Remember, this is the one that where you spread the numbers out. So it's 27 by 36 because you're finding the area. So you're going to go 27, 36. And then you're going to be doing the multiplication for that. Okay? Adding all those partial products up. And number 18, you're going to have to do a lot of, this is a multi-step problem. You're going to have to figure it out for 1 week, and then you're going to figure it out for 52 weeks. So multi-step problem on number 18. But you can do this, and you can solve these problems using any method you would like, except for number 17. I want number 17 to be in expanded form. And make sure you show your work so I can check that. And then on the remembering side, you know how to do all of these. And numbers 11 through 16, it does say you can use any method, and you can. But maybe I better help you with these. On the remembering side, each mixed number as a fraction. All they're doing is they want you to find the product by changing anything that you need to into a mixed number. So I just kept the 2/9 because it doesn't need to be changed. But remember, when you multiply, you get to extend the bar and look for relationships. So I'm going to do this first one with you. So to change 2 2/3 into a fraction, you have to multiply then add. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8 over 3. And now I multiply straight across. So I extend the bar. I look for relationships. There are not any. So I multiply straight across, and I get 16/27 as my final answer. So make sure that you're doing these correctly, where you're rewriting the mixed number as a fraction and then solving it. All right, good luck to you. Make sure you do Think Central. So get it glued in your journal, do Think Central, and then you can work on homework and remembering. See you next time.